staffing issues occurring almost randomly across the country. Secretary Duffy, the Transportation Secretary, is warning delays could get worse.
The shutdown could figure in tomorrow's elections across the country. In California, Nancy Pelosi and Governor Newsom hosted a Get Out the Vote phone bank for Proposition 50, which would allow Democrats to temporarily change the boundaries of some House districts.
When Texas did what Texas did, people said, oh, we can't do that. Two no's don't make a right. It isn't two no's. It's self-defense for our democracy.
Actress Diane Ladd has died. She was a 3-time Academy Award nominee, known for her roles like Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore and Wild at Heart.
I've done something so bad. Real bad.
What?
I'm not going to tell you on the telephone, no. I'm going to come to New Orleans tomorrow, and I'm going to tell you in person.
Her death was confirmed by her daughter, actress Laura Dern. Ladd was 89 years old. In Los Angeles today, Dodgers fans filled the streets to cheer on the World Series champion Dodgers. It was the first back-to-back win for any team in 25 years. And on Wall Street today, stocks finished mixed. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
Designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your...
Windshield wipers. eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each...
If you're not waking up with the Wake Up Crew, here's what you and Dalton.
The guy's still falling.
Weekday mornings from 6 until Swap and Shop.
Good afternoon. Trying to clean up this wreck. It's 40 westbound, just before you get to the bumpering at Broadway, clogging up traffic there on the South Loop. This is normally where they crash in the mornings. Here, trying to get into downtown on 40 west at Broadway, had the truck stall out and causing some delays out through Antioch a few minutes ago on 24 eastbound in Harding Place. When you need dependable towing for your car, big truck here in Middle Tennessee, call STR Towing and Recovery. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
When severe weather strikes, we break in.
A tornado watch is in effect for Rutherford County.
Up-to-date weather information.
We'll be here with you on radio and with Rutherford Weather Video Channel.
Rutherford Weather Updates on WGNS. And watch on YouTube and Facebook with Rutherford Weather.
This is Matt Lane. That's your Monday edition of All That's News. All Sports Talk is next on News Radio WGNS.
From the first pitch to the final buzzer, this is where the conversation starts. All Sports Talk on WGNS and Big GTV, covering the Preps, MTSU, news from Tennessee and nationwide. Now, here's All Sports Talk on the Good Neighbor Network.
We're on. Welcome into All Sports Talk. On this Monday, we have a little technical communication issue, I guess. Tim Tackett along with Jeff Jordan. Jeff, brought to you by Fans Heating and Air, Lee Coffin Financial Services. Mr. Jordan, there is a lot to talk about on this Monday. I don't know if we can get it done in an hour, but we'll talk fast.
Okay, I didn't know there was a lot to talk about, but okay.
Well, you don't have anything on your mind at all?
Well, no. We always have a lot of sports this time of year. October, November, very busy months.
Well, you got high school football playoffs that begin, so all that's out of the way, and it is different this year. We need to talk about that for sure. World Series has been played, and in dramatic fashion, the Dodgers, of all folks, win the World Series. New manager named by the Braves. Another SEC coach bites the dust. I've been waiting for that job, by the way. That's the one I was looking for, is Auburn to open up. So I'm ready to go negotiate now.
Okay. How much do you want a year? And your buyout should be how much?
My buyout needs to be nothing. I just need give me $10 million for 1 year, and I'll go clean it up, and then I'll walk away.
Okay.
How about that?
Well, I don't think you're going to be hired, but okay.
I know I'm not going to be hired. Braves hired Walt Weiss. Let's just start there. That's the freshest news that I've seen. Brian just sent that to us about 5 minutes ago. What do you know about Walt Weiss, and what's your opinion?
Well, my opinion, I'm okay with that, I guess. He's one of those ball players, and most of them are this way, that played a number of years and did a pretty good, solid job most of the time, offensively, defensively, and so forth, but definitely was not a superstar. And I would say that would be true of most of the managers.
Most of the successful ones, at least.
Yeah, are not, superstars, or some of them never even made the majors. He had a job in Colorado. His record was not good. And I think he'd been the coach on the bench, that kind of thing. Usually you have a head coach on the bench besides the manager, and he was that. So evidently he had considerable faith in him by the Braves, and he's been a candidate since it started, and they hired him.
There you go. World Series itself, since we're on baseball, how much of it did you watch, and how agonizing it has to be to lose the way the Blue Jays ended up losing the thing?
Yeah, that's true.
Game 6 and 7 both, and on and on and on. That's just what you call water torture.
Yeah, I guess so. But either one of those games could have gone another way, and the Blue Jays would have won, and that would have been agonizing for the Dodgers.
Sure.
Because the games were so incredibly
You're
close. Right. Boy, they were close, and so many close plays. I guess, I don't know which one was the closest. Maybe the one on the double play at second base. His hand was right above the base, and the other guy got there first, and that took a runner off a third and ended the inning, as a matter of fact. I mean, just things like that.
What about the force out at home plate where the catcher's foot came off the base and went back down? And how do you see that little sliver of a spike hit home plate? I think they got it right. I think they did.
Yeah.
But, Jeff, we're talking life-changing inch or two, right?
Well, also thousands of dollars.
Well, life-changing in lots of ways.
And we had to play in left field where the center fielder, I think, ran over the left fielder.
Oh, yeah.
And climbed his back and still caught the ball and knocked the other guy flat. It was just an amazing play, but it went. Everything seemed to go when they really needed it. The Dodgers came out on top.
It's sad. I think back to John Wooden. John Wooden, if you remember, was a basketball coach at UCLA in the 60s, that very stoic guy, rolled up paper in his hand, never got off the bench much, very quiet and professor-like, I think would be the fair way to put him. And he made in his comment in his book that I read again not that long ago, that he was not concerned about wins and losses. He was concerned about the players playing the best they could play and the team playing the best they could play. And they did that, he considered it a winner. Now, I think that's a nice way to look at it. Not many people can get away with that thought process, but my point being, are the Blue Jays any worse because they got beat by an inch or a catch that was made in left field? Does that make them any less whatever? But
no.
The answer, in the fans' mind, the feeling of euphoria or the feeling of I may want to go jump in the river happened because of 2 or 3 plays, not because of my team's 1-8 like Middle Tennessee is right now, or like or whatever, Auburn, those kind of things. It's just such a fine line between being able to celebrate and pop the champagne and just go home and whatever, as opposed to having to mope through the car.
I suppose that you do, maybe you feel like that you've lost your legacy, because 10 years from now, everybody's going to remember that the Dodgers won the World Series. They're not going to remember who they played most of the time.
Right.
And I can remember some of them back in some years, but not really many. And a lot of great teams have gotten to the World Series, and including the Cleveland Indians. They were the Indians then and had set a record for wins up to that point, and they got beat 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So,
the Reds in 1990 beat the Athletics 4, and the A's were scheduled to win the series.
Right.
By, I won't say by a long shot, but they were a prohibitive favorite to beat Cincinnati, and the Reds went in four straight. So,
well, I suppose you could fit, but the truth be known, I think the Blue Jays were 1 or 2 in wins over the entire league. First of all,
I think the Brewers had the best record in baseball.
So they were 2,
but I think Toronto might have had the best record in the American League, right at it.
And they won the pennant. Which is what it used to be really all about, was the winning the pennant. Now, of course, Americans, we love a winner. Oh, I tell you what, we love a winner, and we want to predict who's going to win before, and we do a lot of that. And then we sit like we are now, and we talk about, well, they didn't come through, they didn't win it all. Well, okay, all right, I guess that's all right, but that's very unfair.
Well, the team that's been most unfairly treated by history in sports, in my opinion, would be the Buffalo Bills, who made the Super Bowl 4 straight years and lost 4 straight years and labeled as losers, doing something that nobody else has ever done, get to the Super Bowl 4 straight years. Jeff, that ain't right.
I think even the announcers on TV, when they finally lost the 4th one, I believe they couldn't believe it. Really, they were just stunned that this team, with a great quarterback and a real good kicker, by the way, who missed the field goal that would have won it, and many others, excellent players, and they lost 4 in a row. It just seems impossible.
Since we're on the baseball thing, and a guy or teams or guys that have had to live with a mistake for a long time, Bill Buckner.
Yeah.
The famous ground ball, easy enough that my little peewee guy could have caught it and ran to first base, right?
Right.
Goes through his legs, and the Mets win the World Series. Buckner was labeled a crime against nature for many years.
And people have forgotten a number of things about that game, but I'll mention 2 of them. One, it was a timeout. I'm canceling that. There we go. I don't want to talk to that person.
You want to identify who that was?
No, I don't. The relief pitcher, whose name escapes me, and the manager messed up the rotation there somehow, some way, and left him in the game too long, and he lost the game. Also, it wasn't the 7th game of the World Series. There was another game the next day. And also, I think we've forgotten, and I don't remember the number, but Bill Buckner had over 2,700 hits, and with more than one team, and that could have and may still get him in the Hall of Fame. I don't know. He was a fine player, but that ball went right between his legs, right under his glove, and he knew a lot better, I'm sure. And he's still taking the hits for it. He came back to Boston, and played again, there. So it's strange.
Well, sports are strange, to be sure. As we mentioned, Hugh Freeze out at Auburn, a miserable showing for sure. 10-3 against Kentucky. They lose in Auburn. He's the 4th coach in the SEC, Jeff, that lost his job, and I don't know if there might be a 5th one. According to what I'm hearing from a bunch of UT fans, they've won Heupel gone. And all he's done is won 75% of his games in the last 5 years, compared to the 15 years before that, right at 500. So people are fickle. Fans are fickle.
Oh, and it's getting worse.
It's getting worse. I agree with that.
And as a result of that, of course, the owners, and definitely, some crazy boosters or people with too much money could be making these decisions or putting on the pressure to get something done, and I think they make a lot of mistakes. But they don't ask me.
Well, all that said, baseball is over for the year. One more year to kind of play, and Jeff, in 2026, the contract with Major League Baseball agreement with the players is over. They got to renegotiate that deal, and there's a lot of dire predictions that we won't be playing baseball in 2027, at least on day one.
I was not aware that it's next year that it runs out at the end of the season.
One more year.
Well, okay. You're right. I mean, we've had strikes before. We lost a World Series as a result of this sort of thing. You'd think you'd like to start the meetings now and get them done over the Christmas holidays.
Well, you got 30 teams that are playing for the same prize and should be playing with, and in professional sports that way, I get it. They should be playing by the same rules. But I feel the same way at Middle Tennessee, frankly, in sports. Now that we're going to get priced out. If you don't have money to pay for your players, even at the Middle Tennessee level, you're not going to be able to compete. And that's what the Cincinnati Reds are saying. We can't compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers, who there's a penalty that's paid dollars and cents, millions of dollars the Dodgers are paying because they're over the salary cap, right?
Right.
And the Dodgers are saying, okay, we got the money to pay the extra money, and we got money to pay the bonus. And Cincinnati does not. My team does not have a fair shot to play the Dodgers. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And so money, somewhere in the Bible it talks about money being the root of all evil. I think I'm not a Bible scholar, so I'm not going to quote it and say exactly, but whoo, money is going to mess this thing up, Jeff.
Well, my father used to say that money changes everything. And I think I'm sure he stole that line from somebody else, but it happens to be true. Money does change everything.
Well, that's the reason I do not let people know I've got plenty of money. I don't want them to think I'm arrogant because of that. I can just be a son of a buck because I just do what I am instead of having money. Fair enough?
Well, the real culprit here started out when this really started was the Yankees. And Steinbrenner.
Oh, yeah.
And he was paying Reggie Jackson $1 billion, all that kind of stuff. And he won couple of World Series doing that very thing. But he complained and griped and groaned and moaned all about having to pay these penalties and everything. And then when it actually came time, he paid them without question and never said any more about it.
Sure.
Because he had plenty of money.
Well, let's get this college football thing in, and then we'll take a break as we're supposed to do. But way back in the day, the Alabamas of the world could stock up 250 players if they wanted to.
Right.
Before there were scholarship limits, which meant that Alabama could stockpile. And sometimes they took the players not because they wanted them to play for us. We just don't want to play for you.
Right.
And schools did that, and that's where you had that. And finally they came along and said, wait a minute, we got to even this thing out. 90 scholarships is all you can have. And then the walk-ons now we're getting to pay people. It's going to get out of hand in college sports. And Major League Baseball, it's out of hand for sure. The Dodgers are buying their way through, and the Yankees and the Mets, and there's other teams that can do it, and the Brewers and the Reds and the White Sox can't compete.
That would be correct.
Let's take a break. I'm right once. Yay! Take a break. We'll celebrate. We'll be right back.
If someone asks,
whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
Welcome back into All Sports Talk on this Monday, first Monday in November. It is 3 weeks from Thanksgiving, about another 7 or 8 weeks till Christmas time, Jeff. This year's getting away, and the reason I know that is because high school football is ready to start playoffs coming this weekend.
This is the proper week for that, isn't it? And basketball practice, I believe, started officially yesterday. I believe I'm right about that.
And college basketball officially started today. The first day to play, and Middle Tennessee wins over Tennessee State women's basketball this morning in front of the screaming city school kids and all that. The men will play on Wednesday at 10:30, I think it is. They'll play in front of the Rutherford County school screaming kids. Do you choose to go to those games, Jeff?
I do not. I went once, and I sat with the director of schools down Odom, and about in the middle of it, I said, "Don, I know one thing about this game." And he said, "What's that?" And I said, "It's my last one."
You know,
I couldn't hear.
You and I are very much the same way. And to be honest with you, I'm delighted to give it up.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I think the kids have a big time. I think it's good for the kids to do. I think it's good for the team, and I could deal with it if I chose to, but I have options now, and so I choose to not do that.
Well, they may have a better idea of the game than you and I do because of this reason. They cheer no matter what happens. The other team scored.
They walk out happy.
Yeah, I don't know. Can they get popcorn and stuff? Can they do that?
I think the teachers can bring snacks and pass them down the line. I don't think concession stands are open.
Okay.
For obvious reason. I think wouldn't that be a disaster? I think it's up to the schools to govern their kids in their own way, and the concession stands are not there to be tempted. They've frankly ought to close the restrooms, but that'd be hard to explain.
No, you couldn't do that. But I know people are listening and they're thinking, well, y'all are just not really with it or anything. But really, I think if you went, an adult went, you might feel the same way. It's pretty chaotic, and it is immensely loud.
Well, let's make sure we explain to them what happens. It's been going on for 12, 15 years now. The women's team has invited the city schools to come at no charge. They don't charge anybody to get in at all for the game, and the kids come and have a big time. They play at 10:30 in the morning during the school day. The Greenland Drive parking lot's full of buses. And same thing happens on Wednesday with the men's game in Rutherford County schools. And Jeff, I got the privilege of organizing that event the first time we had it, and did it the first 4 years it was done. It was a lot of fun. It really was. Nerve-wracking for me to try to make sure everything went smoothly, but it did, and it did because the teachers and the schools were very cooperative, and I'm proud to say that.
Well, the Blue Raiders and Lady Raiders are starting up here pretty quick for regular season games.
Well, the ladies are 1-0 now officially. They played 2 exhibition games already, and then this one today against Tennessee State. The men will open up officially on Wednesday, and we'll have to see how that kind of thing goes. High school football, as we rattled around getting to that. We talked about the schedule changing, Jeff, and it has changed. This year, the way I read the bracket now is that instead of the 1 and 2 teams from our region having to meet in the quarterfinals, the 1 and 2 teams who are Oakland and Riverdale will meet in the semifinals if they make it that far. And also predicted is because of that change in scheduling, travel has become much different. If I read it right, I think Riverdale would be headed to Dobbins Bennett in week 2 if they happen to win. So or somebody's going to Dobbins Bennett. So that's Kingsport, by the way. That's a 4.5-hour drive. If you're interested.
It's a long way, I can tell you that much.
So travel is greater, but the opponents are different, and somebody gets. It may be. I think it's Riverdale that would take on Maryville in week 2.
You want the? I know we got Chip to do. You want the scores?
No, go ahead. Yeah, our schedule changed a little bit, so we got plenty of time.
Okay, let's. We've been given the scores for every week, so we might as well do it this week
might
too.
Well.
In no particular order, Fayetteville City beat Eagleville 20-7, and Blackman beat Rockvale 35-7 was the score in that ball game. That's a lot more than I thought it would be. Oakland beat Riverdale 35-21. Providence Christian, boy, these two schools had battled all year with their records. PCA won 30-13. And let's see here. Siegel beat Laverne 27-6, and Smyrna beat Stewart's Creek 27 to I think it's 13. I'm not sure about that. 13. Okay, that's everybody. And the two teams that advanced, or four teams that advanced, 32 around the state, are Smyrna, Oakland, Riverdale, and Blackman, and Eagleville will all advance in the public school division.
I predicted at the beginning of the season that Smyrna would be one of those four teams. I figured it would be Blackman, Riverdale, Oakland, and I went with Smyrna. Jeff, halfway through the season, that wasn't going to happen.
No. Rockvale had the edge for
Rockvale,
fourth place.
It appeared to be, even though it was a slugfest between Rockvale, Stewart's Creek, Smyrna, and Siegel, right?
All right.
2 weeks ago, I think any of those four teams, if the right things have happened the right way, any of the four could have gotten in, but it turned out to be Smyrna.
I think we did say, but this is not really unusual. Just about everybody said the same thing we did, that Oakland would win the title, and that Riverdale and Blackman, whoever won that ball game, would finish second. And sometimes we picked. I don't remember if you picked anybody or I did, but sure enough, that's what happened. Blackman beat Riverdale, and they got the second spot. Even though they lost to Oakland, so did Riverdale. They lost to Oakland, so but that's okay. And we have changed our opponents and regions that we're playing and so forth. It's, I think, interesting. I think it's a good change. But
in some ways, Jeff, it is. But from a standpoint of will do our teams have a better chance to make it to the quarterfinals now? And with I'm not. It's not in front of me, but somebody shout me down in the old system, right?
Right. They wouldn't have been in Maryville.
Yeah.
Right.
As a number 2 seed, they'd have been at home someplace.
Yes, that's correct.
So things have changed a bit. I like it, but not sure I like it a bunch. But we'll just have to see how it goes. Let's be clear here. You got to be good to win, and you might as well take on the best in round 1, 2, 3, or 4, right?
Right.
If your goal is to let's make it to the semifinals, I'm not sure that's where you want to be anyway.
No, I think I agree with that, and really, the state of Tennessee being geographically challenged as it is, and we're up to 6A now, football. It's just very, very difficult to get something that is fair to everybody and travel and the whole thing. It's just tough.
Well, there's very few 6A squads between Williamson County and Memphis. Right? West Tennessee, that chasm of about 110, 15 miles, Jeff, I don't know if there's a 6A school in that area.
I don't know either.
But there's some in Memphis, and there's clearly a bunch up in the Tri-Cities area, Knoxville area, Kingsport,
Johnson City, yeah,
those kind of places. So very scattered, and then I guess in Single A it's somewhat true as well. They're scattered. A lot of them are way out in the mountains of East Tennessee and in the plains of West Tennessee.
And we've had, and of course this particularly applies to us to a certain extent. The populations of various places have dropped sometimes and exploded in other times. Mm-hmm. And you make this adjustment, every 2 years?
And you have to move in 2 years.
And that can happen to you. It happened to Smyrna and Laverne. For one,
it happened in Oakland back in 2003 when Siegel opened up. Remember that? Oakland went from 2,400 students to 1,350 because I was there.
Okay, all right. So it happens. So it takes. I'll use the word catastrophic, but that's not catastrophic. But something like that can happen, and I think back to the days before this was a popular thing to do when Seward Air Force Base closed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, now that really affected the population of Smyrna and of the schools. And people forget that. I was at Thurman Francis a year or two before that, and Thurman Francis was the school population was cut almost in half by the time the Air Force Base was formally closed, completely closed. Some stayed, most left, and so anyway, that kind of thing can happen to you, and when you're seeding and trying to decide the population. which you have to do in schools every single year. You've got to file that form. I filed it. You filed it. And you sign off of it, and it, as Jan Stauffer told me, Jeff, it had better be right. And I said, yes, sir, it will be right. And he was trying to tell me, I think, don't cheat.
Yeah.
Don't write down the wrong number. And I didn't.
Well, headed to Chattanooga for the Blue Cross Bowl in 5 weeks. It's a 5-week deal. I haven't looked, but somewhere early December is when that will be held. Thanksgiving weekend is typically the semifinal rounds where families are proud to say, my kid's got to practice that we can't eat Thanksgiving dinner at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's a beautiful place to play. The stadium is beautiful. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope we have a team make it.
As you mentioned, high school basketball practice has or will be going soon. I haven't checked it out lately, but they'll be rocking it up and down. And of course, if your football schools that make it to about the third round will oftentimes have their basketball team impacted on the boys' side because several football players will move. Let's just make it easy.
Well,
to basketball later on.
I haven't kept up with but two teams. That would be Riverdale and Oakland, and I can tell you that most of the time, Oakland had a player or two that was playing football, and not playing basketball. But for some reason, I don't know why this is, but Riverdale had a number, and that played basketball and football, and of course they kept going to the championship, 3 or 4 weeks. And it'd be that long before they could get to the basketball field.
At your larger schools, that doesn't happen as much as it used to. But at your single A, double A schools, you're talking about a bunch of kids typically that double up. And if I'm not mistaken, your best kid, the quarterback on the football team, is usually the point guard on the basketball team, and also the shortstop on the baseball team. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's close to being correct.
Or maybe the ace pitcher.
Okay.
Whatever it may happen to be. We mentioned we had mentioned Middle Tennessee football. Jeff, not to belabor any real points, but this football team is not quite as bad as 1-7. They've lost 3 games by a total of 8 points. Last 3 games. That's painful for anybody to have 3 games on the line and end up coming short on each one and have to go to that locker room one more time in a situation like that. You could make a case that in the last 5 games they could have won any of the 5 and have not. So I don't know whether that's not having the winning spirit, not whatever, bad luck or whatever it happens to be. You make your own luck, they say, but nobody really cares if you're 1-7 and could have, should have, would have, could have won any of those games. But I sure hope they can pull one off Saturday against Florida International. That ball club is played well enough they deserve another win or two.
Well, I think I said 3 weeks ago, and I didn't feel foolish saying it, but I'm aware that it might not have been the most popular thing to say, but I just said that the Blue Raiders are getting better.
Yeah.
I said, I say the same thing. We're getting better. Now, there is one thing, and you just mentioned it, and this is true of Blue Raiders and other people as well, but we were talking about them. They can get some stuff going and drive 30, 40, 50 yards, that kind of thing. You get down fairly close in the red zone, and something goes wrong. Every time, seemingly.
Titans?
Blue Raiders.
No, I'm saying you could fill in the blank with 2 or 3 school teams.
Somebody jumps offside.
And Titans would fit that same category, wouldn't they?
We run a play, the guy's wide open in the end zone. And the reason he's wide open is because he interfered with somebody.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And we end up having to settle for a field goal or not getting anything at all. And it's just, I think I said this last week, they really deserve a couple of major breaks here and there. And they just haven't created them themselves, and they haven't had any.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the Dodgers won, the Blue Jays lost, and nobody gives the daggone how close the Blue Jays were. There's a winner and there's a loser.
That's right.
And in 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, when people look down 2025 World Series champion, Los Angeles Dodgers, they're not going to know or care that it on 2 or 3 different plays, he could have gone the other way.
And nobody would care that the ball went through Bill Buckner's legs.
No.
They'll see the film. They say, "What a stupid play."
Not at all. And Jeff, sadly, one of the reasons I stay off the internet as much as I do, I don't do a lot of it, but once in a while I get tempted. I have to go look. It's a shame when players get crucified by people that haven't got any better sense than to be that way. But the kicker at Tennessee is not a popular young man right now at the University of Tennessee.
That's correct. You're right.
And that's what he signed up for. And I know he's not asking for anybody to feel sorry for him. And I'm not saying that, but come on, folks. Let's give somebody a break. They mess up, and he didn't lose them the game, but we've seen situations like Jeff, college football players or high school football players, or heck, probably middle school basketball players or football players that parents get upset because they made a mistake that cost their team the game.
Well, I think I've heard players say this. I don't know if this is accurate or not, if they really mean this, but they will tell you about the bad publicity and everything that's said about them, their team, their teammates, whatever. And a lot of them will say, "I never read that stuff."
Mm-hmm.
And I can see why.
Sure. I wouldn't look.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't look. If I was still principal at Oakland High School, I wouldn't look. I wouldn't want to know what being said. Because, Jeff, inevitably, if you're leading a group of kids or players or people, somebody's going to have something pretty ugly to say about you.
Yeah, that's correct. I was thinking about this the other day, and I saw, as did you, Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs on the first pitch in the same World Series game, 3 in a row, 3 at bats. Yeah. Okay, he's a hero. I mean, absolutely a hero. Well, I saw him play once in Oakland, and I think he struck out 4 times. So it just depends on what you want to emphasize and what you want to talk about.
We need to emphasize a break.
Okay.
Blue Raider Insider Report is coming up next on All Sports Talk.
Sign-ups are going on right now for First Shot's Winter Basketball League in Rutherford County. Coach Andy Herzer guides kids to sharpen basketball skills and build teamwork through exciting clinics and games. Since 2003, First Shot has empowered youth to grow in mind, spirit, and body. Don't miss out. Join the fun and develop lifelong skills. Visit firstshottn.org today and register for the Winter Basketball League. That's firstshottn.org.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris. I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem is not going away.
Do you love WGNS Radio? Well, now you can watch it too. WGNS Big GTV brings your favorite radio shows live and on demand. From breaking news and community talk to Rutherford County's top local sports. We've got it all right at your fingertips. Watch anytime, anywhere. WGNS Big GTV, where radio comes to life.
At 6 o'clock, it's Derek Mason live from the Boulevard.
No video tonight, but you can catch it on the Blue Raider Network, which does include WGNS. Jake Rose, voice of Blue Raider football and basketball on television on ESPN Plus, joins me after this 59-53 win by the Lady Raiders over Tennessee State earlier today on Education Day. And Jake, it was a gut check on day one.
Oh man, wasn't it really? It was a rock fight for a little while there. Middle got off to a great start in the first quarter, was up by 10 in the first quarter, but then really the second and third was all kind of Tennessee State. They took over with their physicality, their athleticism. But then in the fourth quarter, Middle Tennessee really locked down on defense. Savannah Davis made some really nice plays. They knocked down some free throws. Free throw shooting in this game was, bad. Wasn't good from either team. But Middle knocked down some free throws in the fourth quarter that put this thing on ice. But a growing team, a learning experience from a very, very young team that has 8 true freshmen on it.
Yeah, Middle ended up holding TSU to 32% shooting and then out-rebounded Tennessee State 44-41. Both teams had a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of second chances. There's been a lot made of this freshman class of the Lady Raiders. But again, who was it when it came time? It was Savannah Davis, who's been here a while, and Contreras, the senior. They made big plays. Davis made a huge defensive play with a steal and a bucket, and they made their free throws down the stretch. Somebody had to, and fortunately for Middle, it was them.
Yeah, it's the experience that counts, especially in tight games like this. But again, a great learning experience for all of these freshmen. I think we saw at least 5 of them tonight, 3 in the starting lineup. Yuhan Lin, the starting point guard, got a lot of great experience where Tennessee State was doubling her in the second quarter on, pretty much taking her out of the ball game. But then Kirsten Verholst came in off the bench, did a wonderful job. And then Blair Bogus, a double-double.
In her first college game.
Yeah, in her first college game, in her Lady Raider debut. Got a big block with about 15 seconds to go in the game with 4 fouls. She was excellent tonight.
Yep, and that's the way she does it, quietly. She had 10 points, 13 rebounds quietly. Now let's turn our attention to Wednesday morning, another Education Day game, as the Middle Tennessee men will take on Milligan. And again, a lot of new faces on Nick McDevitt's ball club. I was about to say in particular at the guard spots, but no, it's everywhere.
It is everywhere, and I think Nick is really excited about this upcoming team because it's going to be a little bit different than what I think some Blue Raider fans are accustomed to. You know you're going to get great energy on defense. You're going to get great defense, but this team's going to want to get out and run a little bit. There's going to be some players that are a little bit more interchangeable on the wings, but I know they're expecting big years from guys like Chris Loof to take a nice leap. And Kamari Lance, who's coming back as well.
And I know, I think they feel really good at their guard positions. Sean Smith, who you'll see number 55, and Javin Carter, a kid out of Alcoa by way of Penn State, ends up back in a Blue Raider uniform.
Yeah, and Javin Carter's got a really smooth game. He can get to that mid-range. He's got a nice outside jump shot. And I know Nick's really excited about what Smith can do running that point guard, running the show as a point guard. He's a great distributor, and he really thinks that's what's going to be the catalyst that opens up this offense. So I think it's going to be a really fun winner here.
All right. Jake Rose joining us, and that is going to be it for us today. Talking basketball. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll be talking football with Coach Derek Mason right here on the Big G, WGNS.
Are you paying hundreds of dollars too much for your...
Whether you need general vehicle upkeep and maintenance or a complete vehicle overhaul, Hall's Auto Care is here for you. We're locally owned and operated by Greg Hall and have been in business since 2014. You'll get excellency on the road. Hall's Auto Care, 907 Ridgely Road, just off Broad Street behind Chili's. Online at hallsautocare.net. Hall's Auto Care.
All Sports Talk on News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnsradio.com.
Tim Tackett and Jeff Jordan on All Sports Talk today. Jeff brought to you by Fans Heating and Air and Lee Collin Financial Services, Edward Jones. Jeff, how much football Saturday and Sunday do you watch? Colleges on Saturday, pros on Sunday. A lot, a little, depends on the day. That's kind of the way I am anyway.
I don't know. If Vanderbilt's on, I watch Vanderbilt. And if Middle Tennessee is on, they usually are. And if I'm not at the game, I watch them. I don't watch much pro. The time I get home with the Titans, it's usually, if they play at 12, the time I get home, it's after church and a couple of donuts and that sort of thing. It's about halftime, and we're usually behind by that time. But not lately. We did pretty good the last couple of times, but it doesn't take long. And then the disaster strikes.
Well, we can talk about those two, since you brought them up. Vandy and Texas, crazy game.
Yeah.
Texas scored on its first offensive play, and at home, and them being Texas and so forth, I think they got a bravado about them that they wouldn't have had if they hadn't scored so quickly and so easily, and jumped out to a huge lead. And then Vanderbilt, against all odds, literally had a chance.
Yeah.
Slim, but had a chance. That 30 minutes before you'd said there ain't no way. Had a chance to win the football game.
They got the football back on that onside kick, which they almost did. They touched it, and it rolled around and went out of bounds, and it was the last touch by Texas, so they didn't get a chance. But I'd like to see him back in the pocket, throwing a couple of times to the end zone.
You may have. The folks at Texas Stadium would not have cared for that.
No, I don't think they wanted that to happen. No, you're exactly right.
Vanderbilt loses, but in what was a blowout, Jeff, it was 34-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a lot to little.
And I'm not certain. I don't really know, but it's been such a crazy upside down year. I'm not sure how much the loss is going to affect Vanderbilt's standings in the ratings, and I'm sure they came out. I just didn't look. But I mean, when you score 31 at Texas and nearly beat them, that says almost as much to me as losing the game. I mean, so.
The way I read the tea leaves, if Vanderbilt were to win out, which would include a win at Tennessee on the last game of the season, they have a puncher's chance of getting into the playoffs at this point in time. That'd be 2 losses, 10-2, and that kind of situation. Tennessee loses to Oklahoma in a game that you're shaking your head. Oklahoma found a way to win, or Tennessee found a way to lose. I don't know which way we want to put that.
I don't know how to put it, but I do know this. If you're watching, and I sometimes do this, but not a whole lot. If you're watching these so-called experts, these people that are in analysis and they're talking about they don't know any much more than you or I do. They really don't. And I did see one show, I believe it was on Friday, and they picked the 3 major games, of which Tennessee was one, and Georgia, Florida, I guess, and the Vanderbilt game, and they picked winners on all 3 of them, and then the Vandy game was the last one that they did, and all three guys said Vanderbilt will easily win this football game. They're much better than Texas, and there shouldn't be much of a problem. Now,
for 55 minutes, that weren't true at all.
I thought I thought, well, I hope you're right, but I didn't really see it. If nothing else, Texas was at home. I mean, but that's okay. There'll be other days. If Vanderbilt's season ended tomorrow, it'd been a fun year, hadn't it?
For Vanderbilt, it's been a fun 2 years for sure, and we'll see how it goes in that regard. Tennessee is about, for all intents and purposes, out of it. Auburn loses to Kentucky 10-3 in a game that it was ugly. Just call it ugly on the plane. Hugh Freeze was not a popular gentleman going off the field that day.
He wasn't the popular gentleman coming in.
No, he wasn't.
I don't know anything about Hugh Freeze, but I'll say this too, and I think this is an accurate statement. I hope it is. I think Kentucky plays ugly football.
They do. They want to get into a rock fight, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do. Okay, that's your method. That's what you do. It hadn't really paid off on the field very much, but okay, that's all right.
Georgia beats Florida in another game that's closer than you might have thought it should be, and go to the Titans on Sunday. Jeff, you get a pick 6 and a punt return. Those are 2 things that you hope happens if you're the Titans, right?
Right.
Or Middle Tennessee, or a team that is in desperate need of those kind of plays that you need to happen. Tennessee did not score an offensive touchdown in the football game. The Titans scored no offensive touchdowns. So therefore, they lost the football game that where I won't say they were given 2 touchdowns, but Jeff, let's be honest. Going into the game, your game plan does not include. Well, we're going to get a pick 6 for sure. We're going to get a punt return for a touchdown. So that's 14 points we know we got. You don't go into a game like that at all. So those happen. Those are games you got to win.
Right.
And they didn't.
Right. You want me to do the brackets for high school real quick?
Please. I knew there was something else burning, and we got to get it on out here. So, yeah, go through Friday night schedule.
Okay, this is the games that involve us.
And they're all 7 o'clock local time, so keep in mind, if you're headed east, you may have to set your clock a little bit.
I think we're okay, in pretty good shape here. Gallatin is at Blackman. Gallatin, by the way, is 6-3, I believe. Riverdale is at Lebanon, and Riverdale ended up 7-3. Lebanon is 8-2. Cookeville is at Oakland, and Smyrna is at Green Hill. I would say that the team that's got the toughest road to hoe here is the one that should have the roughest road to hoe, and that's Smyrna.
Sure.
Because they're playing a number 1 pick. Green Hill is very good. A relatively new school, and they've excelled a lot in various sports. I think the Riverdale game. I think we're probably in pretty good shape there. Cookeville at Oakland. I wouldn't give Oakland or Cookeville much of a chance in that ball game. I don't know about the other one. Gallatin at Blackman. Gallatin pretty good, but I think Blackman's probably better.
Short good. Eagleville, MTCS both play this week. Providence Christian Academy's got a bye. I know that.
Right, and let's see. Chattanooga Grace is at Middle Tennessee Christian. On Friday nights. And you're right, we need to remind people of that because they'll do the wrong thing. I watched them for years, and so have you at Oakland, I'm sure.
Sure.
7 o'clock.
Local time.
Our time, and they're going to kick it off at 7. They're not going to wait for you to buy your ticket at 7:10. 7 o'clock.
All right, Jeff, that's going to wrap it up. More All Sports Talk tomorrow. Stay tuned for Derek Mason Live right here on WGNS Radio.